Hello, my name is Casey Kelsey, and welcome to Binge Worthy. In this episode, we are going to review Coming to America 2. I am joined here by my co-hosts, Star Lee
Hi.
and LaRasha Simon.
Hello.
It's me. No? Okay. I feel like we're going to do that every time now because you sing hello just like Adele. Well,
Yep,
not just like her, but...
I was doing the Lionel Richie one today, so...
It's a new one every time. I never know which one it is.
There's a lot of hellos out there in the universe.
All right. So, Coming to America 2. It's probably going to be another mixed review here. But I want to start off with some of the things that I've been noticing on social media and from other reviews. It's really been kind of bothering me a little bit. Or I just don't know if I agree with some of the things that people are saying 100%. But one of the biggest things that I've noticed from film critics is the fact that Black Americans are playing Black immigrants, so to speak, or non-Black American roles, which is very weird because we have non-American Blacks playing American Black roles. Did I say that right? Yeah, I think I did.
Yep.
So, okay. And I don't know, some people are saying like, should Black immigrants be offended? Or like, is this cultural appropriation? And whole time I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, there was a first one. there was like, this is the sequel, right? So I'm like, for me, it's nothing that we're just living in such a very sensitive time, a very, very sensitive time. And for Eddie Murphy and like the whole team, I think their intentions, it's straight comedy, right? It's always good intentions. I don't think they intend to offend anyone or hurt anyone's feelings or make stereotypes. But when it comes to comedy, I feel like that happens when it comes to comedy. You make fun of those stereotypes. You make fun of the things that they do it all the time. So I'm just really conflicted right now with the reviews because none of them are talking about the quality of the movie. It's all about what is being said and what is being made of and how this is cultural appropriation. It's just like nobody says shit about Daniel and Get Out or Itches when he played in This Christmas. Like, I'm confused to why this is such a big deal.
Yeah. I think I'm having a hard time with that because this movie came out about a decade ago, right? And so I feel like the cultural sensitivity has shifted, but also on the flip of that, you have Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman. And I don't see how that's any different than Eddie Lee resuming his same character years later. I think it'd be different if you were whitewashing a role. I'm having a hard time connecting cultural appropriation to like Black people playing the same roles.
I think it's just what Casey said, though, too, is that we're living in a time that everything is a little bit more sensitive. And I think arguably comedy is suffering because of it. It's being hindered by that. And granted, certain things should not be funny, but, you know, it's the core of like comedy, poking fun at these different issues and these different things. And some people might say, well, you know, Coming to America too, it wasn't that funny, but you know, maybe the comics are just being, you know, sensitive and conscious of, oh my gosh, this is what people are going to say. So they're kind of forced to walk on eggshells here. So it's crazy to me that people are being just so nitpicky and like critical of those sorts of things.
And you mentioned that, you know, some say, oh, it's not as funny as the first one. Here's the thing about sequels. Let's be real, they're either going to be good or they're not. Especially when the first one has set such a high bar for it, a high expectation, and then you get the sequel and people expect the same exact thing to happen. And it's like, I feel like that's why a lot of sequels fail too, because this
Mhm.
expectation is so high, and then you see the second one is like, it wasn't as good as the first one. Of course, it's not as good as the first one. I have never watched a sequel, in my opinion, that was good as the first one. That's just me though.
It's hard to like live up to that.
Right, right,
Especially
and
when you
then
sat with the material for so long.
right, 30 years. You've
Mhm.
watched it over and over and over again. You know, some people know this movie inside and out, right?
Mhm.
So then you get the second one, and they're all like, "Oh, it's not even that funny. There's a lot of stereotypes about the African culture. There's a lot of stereotypes about the African culture in the first one."
Yeah. I think people fail to look at the bigger picture here. Like, let's look at the fact that, they brought everybody back. Like, that is hard to
Hey,
do in a
that was
sequel.
great.
They try to change characters. You don't see nobody no more, but they had
Hmm.
everybody. And I respect the heck out of that. I
Yes,
love that.
even the general's sister. I
Yeah.
was kind of happy to see. I'm like, dang,
Okay.
she's still barking. She's still barking. After 30 years, she's still hopping like a dog. Dang, that's sad.
Yeah.
I
But
think the thing
see,
that did
go
serve
ahead.
for me from the first movie to this movie is the looks.
Oh, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Hairstyles and like the dress attire
Hmm.
did it for me. I said, okay, hairstyles. Who was on their hair crew?
Yeah.
Period. I
So
loved
let's
Princess Mika's whole look.
Mm.
yes, production designer, set designer, and costumes put their foot in this movie. Like the
They
set
did.
design was freaking amazing. Shout out to Rick Ross for the big
The
ass
boss.
mansion. Oh.
I wanted to do that, but
But it was like, wow. Like that set design right there. From the pictures on the wall with Akeem and ancestors on the wall, and just like how they made it. But see, that's why I understand how people say, oh, that's cultural appropriation. Isn't that's not accurate? Like we don't have that's not how kings and queens live? Is that like
I took it as they're celebrating the culture.
exactly. Exactly. And the costumes were, I mean, the princess alone, she was bad.
Oh my gosh,
Period.
yes.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, just vibrant,
Mhm.
bright colors. Oh, I loved it.
Mhm. The
Even when they brought out
dresses.
Tiana Taylor, I said, okay, sis,
Yeah,
you
Shout
got a
I
out
few
love
outfits.
her.
You
shout
only
out
got a
to
couple,
Tiana.
but damn.
Yes, she never fails us though. Tiana, we already know her body's
I will
banging.
say though, for me, it was weird seeing her in like a submissive role.
It was. It
That
was.
was weird.
But
Mm.
honestly, I don't know. It didn't that's acting. It didn't really bother me because I'm
No,
like,
it didn't bother me. It was just
yeah,
like a thought, like, oh my gosh.
yeah. But she did a good job. She did a good
She
job.
did. She's
Whatever
a
you
triple
want me
threat.
to do, like that, she did good. I didn't really like get phased by it or anything because I'm like,
Yeah. I love her.
she
She can do no wrong to me.
right, yeah. I mean, her whole opening like was like plat ass.
Leslie Jones was like, go get her married. She was like,
Yeah,
go get her.
that's the one,
Okay.
right? That's the one. But speaking of Leslie Jones, I feel like she carried the movie a little bit. I mean, I only laughed at her parts.
Yeah. I
Valid.
enjoyed her a lot in the film. I think
She
she just
was
had a great
funny.
balance overall. Yeah.
Hmm. She was really funny. Um, and I've only seen her in one other movie, and that was Ghostbusters.
Hmm.
Um, and I know she's from Saturday Night Live. Is that correct? That's like how
Yeah.
she, okay, yeah. So, I mean, I think she did a great job. I laughed at her parts. I'm not sure about
Mhm.
our listeners or whoever else saw the
It
movie,
wasn't
but
forced. It was just naturally funny.
yeah, it was funny. But I will say there were some things that were forced and was not funny.
Hmm.
Like there's a many moments that I was just like, that's not funny.
I think for me, when they were referencing, I don't know what animal was it? Was it the walrus, some warthog, pig, something with a W? The story was funny for me, but the reaction from Akeem was not funny. Like it was like a slow like relapse, if that makes sense.
I forgot the scene, but yeah.
Who was his like sidekick essentially?
For who? Akeem?
Yes.
Arsenio Hall's character? Simi?
Yeah. Oh, Simi. He was like, every time I see you, I want to just kill him now. Like that whole thing.
Oh, the dad, when they're talking about just kill him now. Oh, yeah, because he's always messing up.
True.
But can we talk about the scene that they were saying how bastard son that they keep calling him?
No, that was killing me. I was like, why they keep calling that man the bastard in the lost sperm? I was like, sorry to that man. Why they do that man like that? I felt so bad for him.
I found that to be funny because it's like,
it
why
was
they keep
funny,
calling that? He said, my bastard son. Like, what the? Like, make me feel even more unwanted. Okay? Like, you gonna keep calling me that.
Shop told him, he was like, you gotta wait for 30 years without paying child support and you came back.
Oh my god. You know what part that really got me when they were doing the introduction of him for the first full time when he was like in the whole outfit? He said whatever his name was and his mom's.
Oh, how they introduced the mom.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Cause he said, and my mom's, and then they reset it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That was kind of funny. But can we talk about the scene that they first of all they reshot the club scene? Did anybody notice that they used a bit of the CGI stuff on the face? That technology nowadays, it lets you do anything. Yeah. But okay, you know how in Bridgerton we were talking about rape?
Yeah.
And sexual assault. You know where I'm going with this, right, Star?
Yeah.
Now that's that. That was rape.
What Mary did?
He was drugged and sexual assaulted. Like,
because he was high.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that happened. Like, people are not talking about that part, and I could not get off that. Like, if we want to throw the card out for something, let's take it away from Bridgerton and throw it at Coming to America.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene there. Wait, was he high or was he drunk?
He was high.
He was both, wasn't he, though? Because they were at a bar. They were out.
He was faded. He was crossed.
Yeah, he was faded.
Oh, yeah, my gosh.
He was not fully aware.
Okay, but that scene did bother me a little bit. Out of like not all of them, but like, if we want to talk about something and shame this movie, it's not cultural appropriation. It could be that scene alone. Because I know it's a comedy movie and it's supposed to be funny, but I just didn't find that to be funny. That's just one of the many things I didn't find funny.
I'm not gonna lie. At first, too, I wasn't a huge fan of the plot at first when we found out that he had like a bastard son. I was like, oh, here we go. Where this gonna go right here? But I was actually happy with where the story went and that they didn't make it so that Mary and Lisa's character weren't like at each other's neck and all that. Right. So I really appreciated that.
Right. And that's one of the things that I noticed too, is like the first one was, you know, how do I put this? It was like more comedy. I feel like this one was more like the story was more developed in this one. I feel like the story, just like the storyline, it kind of flipped. It kind of flipped to me because, like,
we see more layers to who they are.
More layers, more character development, and like, of course, we pick back up from like we get caught up of like what they've been doing and all this, and then I think the whole idea of having this son that he didn't know was that the culture of Zamunda, is that the name? Yeah. Doesn't allow queens to be in charge, right? Only the kings. So I think having that element to it, and they bring up the whole point of that all of the kings that come, they say they want to make change, but everything stays the same. Like, there's no change because the rituals and the culture is so rooted that it's law. like nobody wants to make the change. And Akeem fell into his father's footsteps, even though in the first one, he was stepping out of that and trying to do his own thing.
Right.
So I thought, as far as like the storyline and just that was very, I liked how they did that. If we want to dive into the story itself, of like, okay, how can we make a sequel? Well, I don't think there would have been any other way to make a sequel to Coming to America 2 than that. Of here we have this young man who was very ambitious in the beginning of doing his own thing, and then he didn't. And then it took a son he didn't know to remind him of who he was when he was younger.
And I like the fact that the story didn't drag. It kept the pace and kept it moving and got right into it.
Yeah, I mean, but they mentioned in the movie, the sequel suck. Like, why recreate something that, like, if it's not broke? It's something that they said.
Yeah, they poked fun at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they didn't really care, but it's almost like y'all wanted a sequel. Well, here it is.
I think it was just meant to, because I was reading this Facebook post and I agree with it. It was just something, made for the culture. It was meant to be fun. It wasn't about, slavery or police brutality or any of those heavy issues. So it was kind of like a breath of fresh air for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I like that factor.
I agree with you. And that's why I'm still conflicted to why people are just like tearing this movie apart. Oh, it's not funny. It's cultural appropriation. It's all of this stuff. And if you're not really going to laugh in this one, and it's just like, really, if you don't know the first one, a lot of the jokes are stemmed from the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
So a lot of them are like, if you haven't seen the first one, then you're probably not going to understand the jokes.
Do you think we're just simply more critical of Black films?
Yeah, but that always happens. I mean, go watch our review on Malcolm and Marie, because we kind of talked about that, of how
they definitely highlight the difference, right? This is the comedy genre, and Malcolm and Marie was more drama. And I think people need to understand, and I think I read an article on this, like, this is one of the first movies of 2021 where we're not talking about trauma, right? I'd be like, oh, I can watch this movie again, or have it on in the background or something like that. Whereas like Malcolm and Marie, I'm not sure when the next time I'm going to watch that.
Right. So
can we talk about how the king went out though? Like how he died?
Okay. So God. I laughed at that part just a little bit because he was alive.
Yeah.
And he was set in his casket, ready to die. I've never seen that before. I was like...
Because at first I thought he was just in there because he had back problems or something in there. I was like, oh, he's about to die. But he had a good going away.
He did. Nice little celebration with my Gladys Knight.
Girl, that took me out. I was like, you better go ahead, Gladys.
Yes. And then she added that.
Gold came out the cut. I was like, what's
yes.
going on here?
Salt and pepper. I was like, okay. I mean, honestly, I'm keeping a buck with you. That's probably how I want to go too.
Yeah, I would go like that.
Give me my last little party. Give me my last little party, my last little turn up to live. And then I'm going to just lay in this casket and go to sleep. Like, that's what happened. He was just laying there. And then it was just
he was talking, and then he just went, oh.
Like he was going to sleep or something.
Dog, I ain't never seen that before. Though. He knew he was out. He was like, I can feel it. I'm not going to live.
Did the wife die?
Yeah, they never, wait. Yeah, they never mentioned
her. They mentioned just recently? When the stylist, was it the stylist? Somebody asked the king how would his mother feel of how he is.
Oh,
that was his wife's or his
father-in-law.
Yeah, McDowell's, whatever his name is. Yeah,
McFlurby.
And he said, we're different from McDonald's. Our menu is not the same. Like, yes,
Our
it
toppings is on the bottom of the McFlurry.
But can we get back to the mansion though? Like,
Oh yeah.
the set design, the production design. I think I didn't know it was shot in Rick Ross's mansion, but because I saw a picture. Yeah, I saw a picture on Will Smith's, like all of their Instagram, and they said Tyler Perry Studios. So I did some digging because I was like, is this false? But they were shot at both. So like particularly the barbershop scenes were in Atlanta, or well, I guess they were in Tyler Perry Studios for like those scenes and a few other scenes, but that house is definitely.
Did y'all notice Rick Ross cameo?
Yes, I did. He was one of the army men. He was one of the army men for the general. Izzy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He was the one that told Izzy about the son coming back.
Yeah, you gotta catch him, you know.
Yeah, he did a little Rotimi with his little fine self.
Girl, he shows me out.
Wow.
He's weird.
His faces were hilarious though. Yeah. His faces, like he didn't have a lot of lines. He didn't have a lot of lines, but he made a lot of like faces.
Yeah. You know who freaked me out though is the Bubba character.
Oh, who played? Was that Arsenio Hall?
I don't know.
Who was that?
He was tripping though.
I do like the B story. I do think it was a little typical for his son to be exactly like him, just a little bit with the B story of how he fell in love with his hairstylist. I'm like, okay, he's just like his father, whoop-de-woo, you know, but it was cute. They were cute or whatever.
I also loved Morgan Freeman appearance. I just love Morgan Freeman, so.
I said, come here.
He was just randomly there. He was at the party.
Like the wedding?
Was it the wedding?
Or was it the funeral?
No, it was the funeral.
Said, come on, good sir. Come on, Morgan. Come narrate this.
I just love his voice. I do. Him and James Earl.
Did you catch the Mufasa line?
No.
Maybe because I'm like obsessed with Lion King, but the minute they referenced Mufasa, I was like, there it is.
I also like the music. I caught John Legend in there. I think Meg the Stallion.
Meg's song was good.
Yeah, it was perfect placement for it too.
She did a good job. Is that her first feature for a movie?
No, I don't.
Oh no, probably not.
No, I don't think so. Did she do one for Queen and Slim?
She did do one for Queen and Slim. Ah, yes, she did. She did.
But we ain't gonna talk about that movie.
We should do a review on Queen and Slim. That one pissed me off.
I gotta mentally prepare myself for that.
That's neither here or there.
Yeah.
But I like how he brought Queens to Zamunda. And I mean, I feel like, I know that Akeem's wife didn't have like a huge family to begin with, but whatever happened to her sister?
That's a great question. Lisa's sister. Did she have a sister?
She had a sister, because wasn't she into Akeem first?
Yeah.
Talk about not bringing all of the characters back.
Oh, man.
And Akeem's mom. Like, it didn't make any sense why they weren't there.
Maybe they just couldn't get them.
Maybe.
Oh, I forgot about her sister. Now I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
I also like that they didn't force the newer characters on us. They just kind of floaty.
Yeah, but some of the jokes were forced. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Like the preacher, like he was funny in the first one, but like this one, his church and house.
Interesting because there's a lot of great comedians in the film overall.
Except for I'm not really a fan of. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. Nope. I'm not gonna say it. All right, I'll say it. I'm not really a fan of like Tracy Morgan. I don't find his funny.
Oh, really? Tracy Morgan. I have a soft spot for him.
I mean, like he was hilarious in Martin. Like I like the big Tracy. But my point is, yeah, I mean, I cackled. I did a couple of those. I did a couple of those. I will say how he got the lion whiskers was dope. That was a nice little plan.
Yeah, that was cool. And I also love that the princess is actually going to be able to be queen someday.
Right.
She was badass and beautiful,
She
by the way.
She was.
Whoever that actress is. Eddie Murphy's daughter was also in the film. She played the middle daughter, princess.
Oh, yeah. That's her. That's his middle daughter?
Yeah, he made her audition.
Hey, Ice Cube made his son audition. Look how that turned out.
Yeah, he didn't need to. They the same person.
They the same person, but it's still acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. You just want to see if people can get the job done. Money is on the line. You can't hire somebody because they related to you. Like, his daughter is beautiful.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. All of the daughters.
Yeah, the little one was adorable.
Yeah, she was so cute.
She was really cute. I loved her outfits too.
I just couldn't get over Princess Mika. I just loved her. I was obsessed.
She played in a movie called The Off Guard, or The Old Guard, excuse me. The Old Guard is on Netflix.
I have to add that to my list.
Yeah, she played in an action movie. It's really good. I would suggest you guys to watch it.
Yes, I would say 100%. Like all three of those daughters, like really did their due diligence, not only in like the appearance in the film and like their personalities, but in their own little way, like had their moment.
Mm-hmm. And I liked how they all were like badass. Like they all.
Oh yeah, in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. But did you guys notice the stunt doubles? I feel like hiding the stunt doubles in this movie was terrible.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I caught every single one. I'm like, that is not Eddie Murphy. Like his head. Okay, so Eddie Murphy's double, his head was darker than Eddie Murphy. Like he was black. There's also this whole what's it called? Wakanda versus Zumanda. There's this
Wakanda forever.
Which one is better? Like which fictional paradise is better? And some
they're brilliant
people
in their own right.
So there's a review that I read, like Coming to America does a lot of stereotypes and old rituals, and like Wakanda is more rich, more like together. There's no really black on black crime, so they say. You know, there's like everyone has their own, you know, parts and they know their role. Whereas in Coming to America 2, General Izzy kept threatening Akeem's life. And so there's this big like, oh, well, Wakanda's better because it's more filled out into the modern day or whatever. And it's like, again, people, this movie is a sequel.
I think they just forced it a little bit.
Stop forcing it.
Yeah, they're two different like constructs of what they're trying to get at, and it's not comparable.
But I do like Wakanda's world just a little bit better, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit Wakanda forever, you know, because like Wakanda is like just dope within itself, like just the technology that they have and the resources. But I agree with you, LaRasha, in the sense of like these are two separate movies and they have its own little.
They good in their own right.
Chadwick, no one like that is my good sir, right? So it's like a whole. It's different.
All right, 30 years later, Coming to America 2, is it worth watching? Starlee.
I believe that it is worth watching. I think for a sequel, they did a nice job. Obviously, people probably aren't going to love it more than the first one. The first one's a classic. Like, that's hard to live up to. But I appreciated the costumes. I appreciated the scenery. I appreciated that they brought mostly all the cast back and gave everybody the chance to shine. I appreciate that it was something just good to watch in this, you know, world we're in. It was refreshing. So I recommend watching it.
LaRasha Simon.
I think for a cultural reference and the other movies that are in production or coming out or have come out in the last year, this is definitely something that I feel like people should watch. if not for like the music and just the sense of comfortability of like the references from the first film, as well as the banging outfits and the music. So yes.
Do I think that Coming to America 2 is worth watching? Just watch it.
You said just watch it.
Just watch it. Like, that's all I have to say about it. I think, no, to answer your questions that you guys may be having, no, it's not funnier than the first one, or it's not as funny as the first one. I've had friends and family who said they didn't laugh at all. And then I have friends who said that they laughed just a little. And I'm one of those people that laughed just a little. But I think for me, my expectations of Coming to America 2 was not high at all. So I think that's why I was kind of satisfied with it. I feel like for me, with any sequel, I don't go into like thinking like, and for anyone that knows me, I just want to throw this out there. I've been waiting on Avatar 2 for the longest.
Yes, she has.
My expectations are at below the ground. So I'm not just saying that. I really do mean that. Like, sequels are a hit or miss. Like, they're either going to be good or they're not. Just watch it.
It's a feel-good movie.
It is. It is. It has its moments. It does have its moments. But again, it's not as funny as, I will admit, it's not as funny as Coming to America, the first one. So, all right. So that is our review on Coming to America 2. I'm Casey Kelsey.
I'm Starly.
And I'm Larasha Simon.
Thanks for listening. Peace.